Sin Fronteras, Western New York, Buffalo's media platform for Western New York Hispanics.
Producing bicultural content that informs, entertains, and inspires the forward thinking.
Sin Fronteras, Western New York, delivering bilingual stories,
hot topic conversations,
and the voices from our Latino community.
Sin Fronteras, Western New York.
La única producción contemporánea en español
y en inglés en la ciudad de Buffalo. Sin Fronteras, Western New York.
Your connection to cultural ties in Latin America
and hyperlocal news in the Western New York area.
Sin Fronteras, Western New York es para ti.
Hola y bienvenidos de nuevo. I don't know why I'm singing. I don't know, I'm in a good mood. Buenas. This is Lorenzo Rodríguez here for Sin Fronteras, Western New York. Holding down the fort by my lonesome once again. But I assure you, we should be getting to full strength pretty soon. My co-host Samantha Latshaw should be back soon enough. But also be on the lookout because we are going to continue to include some new Hispanic voices from our Western New York community here on Sin Fronteras. In the meantime, we've got a lot of program to get to, so let's kick things off with our segment, Las Noticias que nos importa. A Texas federal judge has temporarily halted a Biden administration program that allows undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens to apply for legal status without leaving the country. The pause comes after 16 states, led by Republican attorneys, challenged the policy, arguing it bypasses Congress's rule. The program, announced in June, aims to prevent long family separations, but the court's stay could last beyond the upcoming presidential election. Critics say that the policy is a form of amnesty, while supporters argue that it prevents family separation and provides a path to citizenship. And according to a study by California Lutheran University and UCLA titled Dando Vida a la Economía, Latinas in the U.S. contributed $1.3 trillion to the GDP in 2021. That's nearly double their 2010 contribution and an amount that's growing 3 times faster than non-Latinos. This impact is comparable to Florida's entire GDP currently. U.S.-born Latinas with enhanced education and bilingual skills are driving future growth despite limited access to capital. Latinas are making strides in workforce participation, higher education, and business ownership, but still, challenges like wage gaps still remain. That has been La Noticias que nos importa. And in that second story, I mentioned just the massive economic impact that U.S. Latinas are having in our country. And I can't think of a better segue for this week's guest, Sandra Ortiz-Juárez. Sandra is a digital media maven and entrepreneur who has not only opened up a standout Taqueria restaurant here in Western New York, but is the editor-in-chief and co-founder of BrillaLatina.com. webzine and social media network providing news and pop culture stories for young women here in the U.S. I was fortunate enough to be joined by my colleague Casimiro Rodríguez for an engaging conversation with this Mexican-American Western New York powerhouse. So I hope you all enjoy our conversation with Sandra Ortiz-Juárez. All right, and welcome once again to Sin Fronteras, Western New York. This is a fun one. I mean, they're always fun, right, guys? I feel like
these are always great.
But this is it's
especially with the special guests that we have.
Well,
we have a
but I like this one because this is a field that is important to me. I mean, I got into a part of this. I got into the journalism. I got into the TV side, and then I got into radio, and I'm back in radio, but I have always been drawn to media because it's how we communicate en masse. And today we have a guest on Sin Fronteras, Sandra Ortiz-Juárez. She is a digital media entrepreneur, and I say that in the truest sense because she's a co-founder and editor-in-chief of BrillaLatina.com. She's a digital media strategist with over a decade of experience in the Hispanic and Latino markets. And if you go to BrillaLatina.com, you can tell the passion there about the Latino culture, impactful storytelling, and just innovating constantly. I love the website. It's very much of its time, and it does capture the Latino essence very, very well. With a background in journalism, which I don't know, I have a degree and I say it, but I feel like our guest today, Sandra, can run laps around my knowledge pool. But Sandra, bienvenidos a Sin Fronteras.
Bienvenida, Sandra.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm so excited to be here with you today at Sin Fronteras.
You know, Lorenzo, here in Western New York, there's not many Latinas in media. You have to say that. There's a few. There are a few.
Not
many.
Yes, and it's why the genesis of this venture was we said to ourselves we need more of us.
That's right.
In media. Mm-hmm. So to find other media professionals is always exciting. That's why I know I always say all our guests are exciting, but for me this one was big because I think Sandra, you're tapped into your forte, if I may, is digital media. It's online. It's the Brilla Latina site. It's a national site. You were talking before the show that you have a partner that works out of Miami.
Yes.
I don't know about that place, but I hear only just horrible things come out from that place. I kid. I'm from Miami, folks. If for first-time listeners,
don't say that too loud.
I know. Well, but this is a city of good neighbors, right?
Yes.
La ciudad de buenos vecinos.
You're in a good place.
But you've been in media and digital media, journalism now for years now.
Yes.
How did that come about? How did you start? It's a field that you have to be very passionate about. I think you have to have a certain drive and curiosity.
Passion.
I think yes. We're Hispanic, so it's all about la pasión.
La pasión.
You know, for me, everything started when I was little. I remember when I was little, my dream was to be part of a radio station or have my own TV show. I was always so interested on media in general, so I was never, for me, it wasn't never a doubt when I finished the high school. Mm-hmm. And you know they always ask you like
la secundaria,
la prepa,
o la prepa.
For us es la prepa in Mexico. So for me I was always certain that this was the career that I wanted to pursue. And that's how when I first came to this country in 2010, I just started looking for opportunities. I remember I created a list of all the companies that I wanted to apply to, and I went the next day and was knocking all the doors, and basically that's how I started. Someone said, okay, yes, let's give it a try. We're gonna let you write for a website, send us a couple of examples of what you're writing, and we'll take it from there. And that's how my first opportunity in media arrived.
Sandra, tell us where you're from in Mexico.
I'm from the smallest state of Mexico. Like everybody kind of like bullies me about it because I'm from Tlaxcala. That's the smallest state.
Tlaxcala?
Tlax with TL.
Yes.
Tlaxcala. And that's the smallest state in Mexico. And nationwide, they say like Tlaxcala doesn't exist. So it's like that. So our new logo and slogan in Tlaxcala to promote the tourism and everything, it's called Tlaxcala sí existe. So they use that in our favor, right? So now it's a new slogan, Tlaxcala sí existe. So I'm from there, and it's funny because I know a lot of Latinas that live here in Buffalo, Mexicans, by the way, and they say like, you're the first person from Tlaxcala that I know. And I'm like, how's that? Yeah, you're the first Tlaxcalteca that I know in Buffalo. Okay, that's good.
Lasteca.
Tlaxcalteca, Tlax with X. Yeah, Tlaxcalteca.
There's a lot of X's in Mexican, like I'm trying to teach my girls all about the animals. El Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl.
Yes, yes.
It's difficult to pronounce all those names with the TL. Yeah, it's not easy.
We're gonna get to our kids in later on, because that's one thing. I'm as un hispano aquí in Buffalo, it's hard to find our own community. So for me, practicing Spanish, teaching it, and imposing it, or bringing it to our kids is always a challenge. But we'll get to that in just a minute. But Brilla Latina, let's get into that. Can you explain what inspired it? How did it start? The genesis? How did that come about? Because you had how many years in media did out in the wilderness were you before you said I'm going to do my own thing?
Well, before it was 2015 when I decided to pursue my own website and have my own website that was called latinacool.com. And at that time, I was pregnant, and to be in media was very demanding as a digital director, and I was overwhelmed. I didn't have like a very good pregnancy. So that's when I decided like I want to focus on my health and my baby, but at the same time I couldn't give up like my career
Right.
and my passion, which is media. So that's when I decided to launch my own website, latinacool.com. And a couple of years later, I kept doing it in Spanish. And around 8 years later, I reconnect with a media entrepreneur whose name is Manny Ruiz. He's very well known for being the founder of Hispanicize. He's based in Miami. And we reconnected, and we decided that we wanted to be partners and relaunch latinacool.com as brillalatina.com, now as a bilingual website. And that just happened in March from this year. So this is a very new project that we have, brillalatina.com.
And you knew from the start that it was going to be bilingual? Because is that...
No, in the start I wanted to be in Spanish because my first and native language is Spanish. So I just wanted I wanted a platform that connected with Latinas like me that were Spanish dominant. And that's why I wanted to have it in Spanish. But during the years, I realized, and through a market study, I realized that the current Latina, it's fully bilingual.
The Latina here in the United States.
U.S. is fully bilingual, and they are looking to get more information about entrepreneurship. So one of the main focus of Brilla Latina right now is precisely that topic. We are putting a lot of efforts into creating more content about Latinas entrepreneurs, because we know that they are very interested and involved in those type of content.
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship, that's right.
That's correct. How do you see the platform evolving in the next few years, Brilla Latina?
Well, we are very focused right now on creating videos because we know that it's unfortunate, but the reality is that each time less people are reading. So we are focusing more on creating visual content and have the ability to tell stories in a shorter amount of time because the average amount of time that people spend in front of video, it's like 30 seconds. So
That's the way,
you basically
unfortunately,
need to change your focus
Yep.
and think that whatever you have to say, you have to be quick and you just have like 30 seconds.
There are so many things that are pulling everyone's attention in different directions, and you have to grab it in mere seconds. And,
Say it quick.
Yep.
You said video. What is that? YouTube? What platforms?
We want to be more on social media
Social media.
since our target audience it's there. So we are focusing our efforts on creating more content for those platforms.
Without a question, I assume there's a TikTok account.
TikTok.
Yeah. We have a TikTok now, yeah.
It's a TikTok. I have two girls, and it's a TikTok is a beast that I cannot. I'm not looking forward to when they're teens because, well, see, TikTok todavía está around by then. I don't know what will be the TikTok of 20, 30 something, but it's constantly evolving. It's constantly changing. Yeah. When we had Twitter, now it's X, and Snapchat was a big thing, and it still kind of is.
Evolving, changing.
It's constantly evolving. Like digital media, since when I started in 2010 until now, it's like you need to start getting more and more information and be updated about what's new, what's trending. So you definitely never start learning.
And never stops. It's
Yeah.
always on. It's you. In my other roles, my other career outside of Sin Fronteras, we deal with the youth, and everybody wants to be a YouTuber, an influencer, and it's a big thing. We wanted to grow up to be periodistas, to be journalists, to be editors in chief. Now you got kids that want to do stream and YouTube and TikTok, and I hope they get that viable career that they seek after, that they look for. But it's an evolving world. I wish, like you, and I can tell from the way you're saying it, is that we would hope that we still have readers and embracing folks that like. But that's also been in the current American market and globally, like people don't have the attention span for newspapers, for long form reading, and that's to me that's troublesome. But you have to evolve, and hopefully you it's dangling the carrot that'll hopefully bring in, because you have articles, you have write-ups, you have within Brilla Latina. It's not just strictly video, but
yes, we have mostly articles, but we are also in social media because as people say, like if you are not in social media in these times, you don't
You're
exist.
Yeah,
Right?
don't exist. So if I was to go into social media today, how would I look you up?
You can go to brilla.latina @brilla.latina on Instagram and Brilla Latina on Facebook and on TikTok as Brilla Latina.
And you have daily updates, content?
Yes, every day we use those channels to promote what we publish on the website. And sometimes it's just like organic content that we create about trending topics that are on social media.
So you're going to publish this segment that we're recording
look
today.
at you, Cass. Look at you.
I love that.
What an excellent marketer. Speaking of,
So you're going you go to Brilla Latina on Facebook, Instagram. What other platforms?
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
Okay.
Don't let this man fool you. He's very avid. He's very savvy about. He's on
Social
he's,
media.
Yep. He's all
You got that? Brilla Latina
Brilla.
on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
the main ones.
all of them.
X.
X.
Ex Brilla Latina.
And you got an email?
Yeah, Sandra at brilla.com because it's Brilla Media.
How do you see digital media evolving in the next few years? And I guess specifically that digital media landscape, how do you see that changing for Hispanics and Latinos?
I think that the Hispanic presence is going to be all over the place in the future. We are increasing the population of Hispanics in the U.S., so I think that we are going to dominate.
Taking over, no.
Digital media.
There's a fear there from
that's
that like and those of other mindsets and I'd say ignorance think that it's that it's a takeover, but like
It's the fastest growing population.
yeah. But it's just it's embracing. Also, you mentioned it. You do bilingual. You embrace the bilingualism of the duality of the cultures. Because I'm that. We tried to do this interview in Spanish completely, but you don't want me doing
Pero
it.
no se puede.
No, you don't. You don't get it.
Bilingüe.
And by the way,
You don't want me doing it all in Spanish.
Excuse me if I'm not very fluent in English.
No,
Speak
you've
perfect.
been,
I just
yeah.
Very perfect.
me defiendo, as we say in Mexico, me defiendo.
Y si
right?
quiere hablar en español, puede hablar en español porque los que escuchan este programa hablan en español.
I
Yes.
think we can, as we say in Mexico, campechanearlo. a
Campechanear.
little bit in Spanish, a little
Well,
bit in English.
You mentioned your business partner is from Miami.
Yes.
In Miami, I recently read that Miami Spanglish there is a Miami dialect that is recognized now as its own. I can revert back to my Miami. The accent is gone. There's a Miami accent, and I'm thankful. I've been told there's a lot of pero likes and like there's a very succinct style to Miami Spanish, but it's very much bilingual. It's very much
Yes.
Spanglish. It's very much. I always like saying I remember a book fair that I went to in elementary school. They had a Spanglish dictionary. It was tongue in cheek, fun, and my favorite Spanglish word is vivaporu.
Viva por...
Vape rub?
Vicks Vapor
Vicks,
Rub. Vivaporu. And if you're Cuban, you've heard it.
Vivaporu.
I probably need it now. I don't know. I've been coughing a bit, but it's la inhalación de Vivaporu. You heat it up in a boiling pot and and that would cleanse you.
That fixes everything.
Vivaporu.
I thought you were referencing Lima, Peru.
I always say don't learn good Spanish from us Cubans because we take a beautiful refined language and just pescado, right? Pescado, fish. Pecado.
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 Qué pecado.
Sandra, talking about the market and the Hispanic growing population, have you seen that in your field, in the digital media field? How's that changed the Latin market? How's that helped the economics of the Latino Hispanic market?
Well, I would like to say, from my perspective, that the fact that there's more Latinos in media, it's helping our wallets. I think that the reality, and it's unfortunate again, is that we don't see that reflected in our income. So I think that Hispanic people who work in media should be paid more, and I think that it has to do with the fact that we don't ask for raises. It's not within our culture for the way that we've been educated. Our parents normally said, like,
Nunca se habla de dinero.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have all these beliefs that we carry, and that probably it's the one of the reasons why we don't speak up and ask for a raise, or we say like, no, I don't think what you are offering me in terms of payment it's fair. So we don't speak up about that, and that's not helping us. But definitely there's a lot of Latinos in media that represent us very well, and we should deserve to be paid for our talent and what we bring to the U.S.
Absolutely.
You're right, because, speaking two languages, dos lenguajes,
That's
es una ventaja
Yep.
bien grande.
Yep.
Huh? You that's a big advantage.
the more audiences that you can reach
Yeah.
in different languages. That's an added. I mean, I can tell you, I've that's been for me. It's been a plus in my career, is being able to not only being millennial and having that weird age group where I still remember an analog world, but also the digital world now that we live in. But being bilingual, I mentioned it. We have kids. I want to make sure that they are also bilingual or polylingual, because that is never a bad thing when you can have those conversations with someone from France or from Portugal or donde sea.
And you see that in a lot of companies.
Mm-hmm.
That you have someone that speaks two languages, Spanish and English, and Spanish is needed, and they'll pull an employee from their regular job to come over here and translate, but at the same time they're not compensated for it.
Mm-hmm.
That happens.
And this is a topic that it's very trending right now on social media, for example, or in media in general, about like generational trauma. I don't know if you heard about it,
Yep.
where they talk specifically about finances and how we have all these beliefs that we shouldn't ask for money and what our parents taught us, and that at some point it's hurting us.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
it's very interesting.
Es la parte del hispano de ser humilde
Yes.
y de buen corazón y del ay bendito. ¿No? ¿Verdad?
Not here, not in Buffalo. In past.
Eso es Miami.
No, even in past employers, I would always go in for the yearly sit down
Appraisal.
and my wife would always be like, "You gotta ask for more money," and I'm like, "No, lo que me den, what they give me is what I earn."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very true. It's something. It's a little bit of humildad, but also just it's not in us to demand more compensation. We should, though, because like you said, there's disparity there wherever you look at it.
Yeah.
And then I gotta imagine as being una mujer in any field, también is another added. Yeah.
And we can't lose sight that Hispanics, Latinos are very good workers, very responsible, very dependable.
Well, most of us.
All of us.
Now, speaking of work, not only are you working in the digital media field, but you're also an entrepreneur here in Western New York. You originally came from New York City, and then now here in Buffalo. You went from one side of the state to the other. Tell us about that and how what that side of your career.
Well, we moved, my husband and I. My husband is from Buffalo, from Tonawanda specifically. We moved from New York City in 2018. And 1 year later, we were missing our tacos al pastor. Because in New York City, we used to have tacos al pastor all the time.
Qué rico.
And we went to a couple of places, but we couldn't find the authentic version. And we decided we said, like, you know what, like, we should start making our own tacos. So we bought like a small trompo. How would you say trompo
Trompo, like a...
in English? Like a kebab.
Oh,
Kind of.
oh, like
the
a
trompo. It's like
the thing that spins the meat around, right?
Yeah.
The kebab.
Kebab.
spins the kebab.
Yeah.
The trompo is like a kebab.
I mean, un trompo, what I know, trompo is a
Utensil.
top, like a little spinning top, but yeah, the rotisserie.
Exactly.
Rotisserie,
So
yeah.
we bought one, a small one, and we start testing different recipes in our backyard. And then every Sunday we kept doing it, but none of the recipes that we try convince us. It took us like 2 years to find the right recipe, and that's because I was interviewing different taqueros from Mexico. I was doing a lot of research. Like,
Now,
I mean, in
you're
the
doing
end,
that in here, Buffalo?
here
or
in Buffalo.
There's more taqueros.
No,
Now there is.
yeah,
Now
there
there
is
Back in
but-
2018, there wasn't many.
not many, but the recipes that I got were from taqueros from Mexico.
Oh, the real
Authentic.
deal.
Yeah,
The authentic
so
source.
I was interviewing them, doing my own research. So in the end, like, kind of like doing journalism for the
Doing your
taco
research,
shop. And that's when we decided, after 2 years, to open Taquito Lindo. That was in 2021. Yes, so 1 year after the
A
pandemic.
challenging. You said
Yes.
it. I was gonna say that's got to be a huge hurdle.
Yes, it was difficult because obviously at that point people were still afraid of going
pandemic,
out
yeah.
and like just doing like regular stuff. But we decided to take the risk, and now we are very happy because we have our own taqueria and I can eat tacos all the time. So that's like a dream come true. So
And this is not an endorsement. I can't do that on public media, but I've had them.
They taste good.
I'll let the audience.
Yeah, you should go and try it.
Yeah, if we wanted to have some of these, where would we go? Where are you located?
Yeah, we are located in Williamsville, and it is called the Williamsville Place Plaza, where there's an Aldi for your reference. There's another restaurant that it's called Black and Blue, and we are there in that plaza.
Taquito Lindo.
Taquito Lindo.
And besides the obvious hurdle of the pandemic, the obstacle of the pandemic, what other challenges have you faced or seen? First off, as a Latina entrepreneur, but
And
then
small business.
in a small business in a mainly Anglo-American town.
Well, first of all, when you first start a business, you need to invest money, right? So that was difficult. That was difficult because we were looking for sources to have some investment into our business. We finally got approved for a loan, and that's what helped us starting the business. But it wasn't easy to get that loan because as an entrepreneur, just to give you a little bit of context, right? As an entrepreneur, sometimes the banks ask you for, give me some proof of your income.
Track record. Yeah.
Yeah, and since you don't have a regular income because you're an entrepreneur, they put more obstacles to provide you with these loans. So that was a big challenge to be able to get that loan. So when we finally got it, was like, thank God, like
Absolutely.
finally we can start doing this. And for Taquito Lindo in Williamsville, it was also a challenge that we started from scratch. Like the place that we wanted to rent had nothing. So we basically designed the kitchen, the bar, everything. And the whole process took us like 6 months or more. And it wasn't easy because we couldn't open at that time. We wanted to open right away, but we couldn't because, like sometimes in constructions, they take your time and it's not ready. So there's a lot of challenges. And also the last one is that some people from the area wasn't really sure about what was the food that we were selling because they were asking for example, hard shell tortillas, or once I remember that they asked us, how come do you don't have chicken tacos? You are not authentic because you don't have chicken tacos. But in Mexico, for example, we don't eat chicken tacos. We have flautas, which is a different concept.
I love flautas.
It's like
and I'll say it. The taquito lindo flautas are really, really good. Really
yeah,
good.
flauta is like a fried taco with chicken inside. So, but they were saying like, no, you're not really authentic because you don't have chicken tacos, you don't have hard shell tortillas and things like that. So it was really a challenge to
win over
and to explain people from the area, some people of the area, what is the authentic Mexican food and what's the traditional Mexican food. But once they knew it, they embrace it, and it seems that they are enjoying it now. Like we have in Google.
And the tacos from Mexico are not hard shell. They're either tortilla de harina or tortilla de maíz.
Yes, that's
but
right.
hard shell tacos. That's Tex-Mex.
Yeah,
more Tex-Mex and more American.
More American. We have more like the traditional food from different regions of Mexico. We have tacos al pastor. We have tacos de carne asada, which are very popular in the north of Mexico. We have tacos de cochinita, who are popular in the south of Mexico. So we sell
got elotes.
Elotes.
Which is we
used to have elotes in our former menu, but you know what? We couldn't offer them anymore because people weren't asking for them. So I was like, oh yeah. So these are the type of challenges that we face.
You want to be authentic, but also you're catering to an audience that that knows that they think Mexican tacos, think chalupas and gorditas, and it's totally different than that.
So yeah, I would say that the challenge is to create awareness of what's the authentic and traditional Mexican food, and that's what we are trying to do at Taquito Lindo. We really are trying to recreate the experience that you go through when you go to the streets of Mexico, the flavors, the colors, the smells, and that's our mission, to share that with the Western New York community. And as I was about to tell you guys, like I'm excited because it seems that they are liking the food. Like we have so far in Google reviews, we have 4.8 stars right now, which is very good within the industry. It's a good number.
The thing that I love from Taquito Lindo is you can't miss it. It's one of the delivery vehicles, I believe, that is in the style of, I guess, Pancho Villa.
Oh,
Villa.
No. Pancho Villa.
Pancho Villa.
Oh, Pancho Villa from the Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, because you got the Zuba's paint on the outside, and you can spot it. You're like, oh, that's Taquito Lindo.
You know, that's actually one of our waiter's car, but he was so passionate about our mission. He's actually originally, I think he's from Jamestown, originally.
Okay.
So he really doesn't have anything to do with Mexico or Mexican food or anything, but he embraced so much our mission, and he was so passionate about what we were doing that he just started like getting into the culture, the Mexican culture and everything, and he suggested at some point we were creating a beer, a special beer for Taquito Lindo that was called Panchos, and he developed all the concept, like from the logo. Like he proposed that we should call this beer Panchos for Pancho because
Billy,
he's
yeah.
a super Bills fan.
Who is in out here?
And then he decided to redesign his car with the Pancho Villa's logo.
I love it.
So you could
Good
definitely
marketing.
see
Good
it
marketing.
all
It's
over
good
the
mobile
place.
marketing. Yep.
Yeah.
Sandra, what are the type of events you have at Taquito Lindo? Do you have culture events there? What type of events?
We mainly have like DJ nights,
Okay.
and we are trying now to promote new artists every Friday. So every Friday you will find a band that it's an up and coming artist, and we are trying to do that right now, like help them promoting. And sometimes we have like DJ nights, or for example, the traditional Cinco de Mayo party. Halloween, we're planning something for Halloween.
Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de Muertos. Actually, for a while, we used to set up a whole ofrenda for Dia de Muertos.
Un altar.
Altares, and at some point, we even ask our customers to bring their loved ones
Pictures.
pictures
That's great.
to offer, like to make an offering for them. And that way we try to share with the customers or traditions, the Mexican traditions and the culture,
And building a community.
and they were I love the fact that they really like that tradition, and they said like, oh, you know what, this is a tradition that I would like to replicate in my house. And I felt so happy about that, because ultimately our mission was to share Mexican culture and the food. So when I heard that, I was excited, because then I thought like, oh, this is good.
It's so touching. It's so touching
That's
to
awesome.
celebrate the memory of your loved one, you know? And
That's I know
Very
that's keeping your heritage alive, keeping your roots alive,
and customs.
and customs is key. One of the things we do towards the end of our interviews, we like to just you eres una mexicana en Buffalo. How do you maintain and celebrate that Mexican heritage out here? You have kids. I said we're gonna get to our children, but how do you then impart that on them, and how do you keep that identity alive?
Oof, I will say that all the time. Like, I'm a Mexican all the time. I like to cook with my kids. For example, during Dia de Muertos, we make at home our own bread. We set up ofrendas. Every time that I can, I take them to Mexico to visit the abuelos, the abuela.
Family, la familia todavía está en México.
Yeah, my whole family
That's
is
tough.
in Mexico.
¿No tiene familia aquí?
No. So that's tough. That's really tough.
I know that
But
feeling.
let me tell you something very important, is that it's something that I wasn't expecting, because I lived in New York City for a while, and I have a small community of friends. But I came to Buffalo to found a huge community of Latinas, most of them Mexicans, and they have become my family. And that's how we kept our traditions alive. Like, we get together and we are constantly organizing, like, celebrar 15 de septiembre, which is our Independence Day.
The actual Independence Day.
The
I'm glad
actual
you brought it up, because
Independence
we
Day.
mentioned Cinco de Mayo and everyone thinks,
Yeah.
oh, it's no.
Yeah,
hey,
it's 15 de
15.
septiembre. So we get together to celebrate these events typical from Mexico, and that makes me doesn't miss my home very much, because I have like a whole new family here in Buffalo.
Yeah. You know, and we're talking about these celebrations and these events, and we're right near Hispanic Heritage Month,
Yes.
September 15th through October 15th.
It's an important
A
month.
very important month to celebrate all Hispanic cultures, including the Mexican-American culture.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
And we touched on it, but the Latinas in Buffalo Facebook group, that's been huge.
Yeah.
It's taking social media and bringing that community and making your own village here in Buffalo, which is, I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that group was open in 2018. A group of friends and I decided to open a Facebook group because when I first came to Buffalo, I couldn't find any other Latina or Mexican or someone who speaks Spanish. So the first person that I knew here in Buffalo, I met her through a Facebook group, a bigger Facebook group that it's called Mexicanas por el Mundo. So in that group, I asked, like, is there anyone here who knows someone who lives in Buffalo and speaks Spanish and is Latina or Mexican? And nobody. Nobody. But finally, someone said, like, hey, I'm from Monterrey, Mexico, and I'm going to move to Buffalo next month. And I was going to move, like, almost in the same month. So we got the chance to know each other, and then we started a friendship, and then through another friend, we met another friends, and that's when we realized that we were, because at the beginning we thought like we were the only Latinas here.
We spoke before. You're from Grand Island, and Grand Island, I don't know too much, but I gotta imagine there's not a lot of
Yeah, not
us
too
out
many.
there.
But we really thought that we were the only Latinas here in Buffalo. And then she told me one day, like, guess what? I have a great news for you. Like, what is it? She's like, I have a friend who has a friend who lives in Buffalo, and she's Latina. And she invited us to a big Christmas party for Latinas. So we should go. And then when we went there, we realized that there were like 100 or over 100 of Latinas. And that's when we decided to open the group, because we thought like there's probably many more Latinas who are just arriving to Buffalo and they want to connect with other Latinas and they don't know how or
Right.
where to connect. So that group was mainly created with that purpose, to help other Latinas connect.
Sounds like I gotta make
Yeah.
a Cubanos in Buffalo
And
group.
do that too.
Yeah.
I know there's
Yeah,
we're out here.
definitely.
We're out
That's
here.
great.
You
know,
should
just to
find
give you an
people there.
idea, and I'm very glad that we were able to connect, Sandra. You know, because in Buffalo, in Western New York, it's a large Hispanic population. For example, I don't know if you know it or not, but in Buffalo, there's around 45,000 Hispanics, Latinos.
Wow.
And in Western New York, which is the 5 counties, there's 75,000. So, you know, when we connected, you know, and you sent that message to the Hispanic Heritage Council, and you were able to connect, you know, it's great. It's great to meet small business entrepreneurs like you that focus on digital media profession. You know, you gotta your career, what you offer to the community is great for the area.
Thank you so much.
You know,
guys.
so we're glad that
Absolutely.
you know you were able to come in and get interviewed here today.
Sandra, real quick before we go, because I want we're learning as we find out there's more of us out here and different nationalities. Rat-a-tat-tat, here we go, some cultural questions. Your Brilla Latina is all about embracing Latino culture. What should you impart on us from Mexican culture? What would you like the audience listening at home to know about? One thing my colleague that works on this program too was super excited for your new president Claudia Sheinbaum. That's got to be huge. It's their first female president, right?
Yes.
But what else? So I guess the regular person out that the regular Hispano. I'm Cuban, Puerto Rican, Kaz. What could you impart on us? Like what's buzzing in Mexico right now that in la música, a good program, like what are you tuned into culturally from Mexico?
You know what? I always like to be informed about everything. So this is like a kind of like an obsession because I'm constantly checking on the news in Mexico. So I wouldn't say that I have a specific topic that I like to be informed about. It's just I like to follow the news, to see what's going on in my country, to be informed. But I really don't have any particular topic that I follow or anything. But I in general, I like to be informed about everything, from entertainment to politics to education to,
Pero
everything.
¿qué estás escuchando ahora? What if I go to your Spotify playlist or wherever, if I go to your music playlist, what are you listening to?
Okay, like for music?
Yeah.
Oof.
Okay, that's something we talk about the Hispano takeover here. Like people know Bad Bunny, they know Karol G, they know Farruko, they know there's names that have crossed over. My guy Pitbull.
Yeah, Pitbull is a good one. You know what? Christian Nodal, it's huge right now. Like people say that he's the next Alejandro Fernandez, who is like one of the biggest names in Mexico. But unfortunately, he's been surrounded of a lot of controversy lately.
Oh, do tell. We're gonna go into farándula here.
Yeah, no.
Bochinche.
That's another topic. But I would say, like, for good or for bad, he's been very trending right now in Mexico, within Mexican pop culture. So Christian Nodal for sure.
To check him out.
You know, and you've had popular artists like Selena.
Yeah, Selena.
When
It's
Selena
an
was, when she
still
got,
is.
when
Like
she-
it's amazing. You go to Target, you can find a Selena. Selena's
beauty
number one.
line, everything.
Yep.
Yeah, when she got murdered and she died, that really shook the entire Hispanic community, not only the Mexican community in Mexico and the Mexican-American community in the U.S., but all Hispanics. It really shook them. And Vicente Fernández, Juan Gabriel, all these artists,
Pues Sandra, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to impart on the audience? Anything else? We mentioned once again, if Brilla Latina. How can people get in contact with you? What else have we not touched on?
I will say that we talk about everything, and I would invite everyone here in the audience to go and visit brillalatina.com to read our articles and see what we're doing. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as Brilla Latina. And obviously, I would love to see you guys at Taquito Lindo. If you heard this interview, go and ask for me, and we'll give you a courtesy if you can go.
Thank you.
There you go. Look at that. The Sin Fronteras special.
Sin
Sandra,
Fronteras special.
But, Sandra, we really appreciate you coming in.
Yes.
Okay? And we hope you come back,
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys. Like, time time flew. O sea, el tiempo se fue volando.
Because it was good conversation.
When it's good conversation, that's what
right.
happens.
So
thank you so much.
We wish you much success in your business and your digital media.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for the support, and I hope to return and be here again.
Always,
Thank you.
Always welcome.
Siempre bienvenida.
Gracias.
Hasta luego.
Many, many thanks to Sandra Ortiz-Juárez for making the time for us here at Sin Fronteras Western New York. We applaud you for all you're doing in the community. Thank you so much, Sandra. But as we near the end of this week's show, we want to remind everyone that September is Hispanic Heritage Month. That's right. Mark your calendars, beginning on September 15th and ending on October 15th. There's going to be a slew of cultural happenings throughout Buffalo, throughout the Western New York area. So before I sign off here, I wanted to give a quick mention to one of those upcoming events taking place soon, and that is the Familia Fun Day. This is going to be a free event celebrating Latino art, culture, food, and, of course, our heritage on Saturday, September 14th, so the day right before Hispanic Heritage Month, from 12 to 3 p.m. at the Frank Lloyd Wright Martin House. You can enjoy music and dance performances, DJ sessions, arts, crafts, games, vendors, you name it. Activities are going to be provided by various community partners, and you can even attend and tour the historic Martin House while you're there. So, which, if you haven't done so, it is a must-see here in the Buffalo area. But that is pretty much it for our show. The event's going to be a great opportunity for family fun and cultural enrichment. Instead of the bochinche that you normally get every week, I decided to give you guys a little cultural calendar, per se, this week. The bochinche hasn't disappeared. It will return, I assure you. In fact, there's a great story I'm saving for when we get our whole Sin Fronteras Western New York crew back together again. But mientras tanto, a reminder to look for our past episodes, which are on demand wherever you get your podcasts. Sin Fronteras Western New York is now on Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, and a plethora of other platforms. So look us up, Sin Fronteras WNY. And as always, if you want to reach out to our program, you could do so at sinfronteraswny@gmail.com. And like all good things, yes, this episode is coming to a close, as is summer. Summer's wrapping up. And if there are any parents listening, good luck to you in the new school year with your children. And folks, enjoy the last few days of summer until we start getting into the crisp autumn days of fall. But in the meantime, mi nombre es Lorenzo Rodríguez. Thank you so much for having joined us on Sin Fronteras Western New York. Y nos veremos la semana que viene. Ciao.